Hey, Olivier, how are you?
Hey Salman, I'm good. I was calling you to get your thoughts about inflation as we start the new year.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me send you a chart about that right now. Yeah, so if you step back and assess the latest data qualitatively and quantitatively, you'll see there's a good chance for consumption to exceed what's expected for this year. Penciling out an estimate gives about 5% of growth in global consumption. If we then look at what that kind of growth has meant historically for inflation, what's shown in the chart, we can see that we're looking at inflation of around 3.5% next year.
Okay, yeah, that's significantly higher than the 2.7% economists are expecting and would be a major headwind for fixed income assets, even if it's just temporary and in line with the reflationary environment.
I agree. Sorry to cut this short, Olivier, but I need to run. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, no problem. Talk soon. Cheers, mate. Hi Salman,
Oh, hey, Olivia, how are you?
I'm good. How about you? I was calling you to get your thoughts on inflation as the months lie ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me send you a chart about that right now. We've seen some repricing of inflation in the last few months, and so it's natural to ask if the market is already pricing in our inflation scenario. What this chart shows is that historically, inflation break-even rates, here we're looking at the US, tend to underestimate realized inflation, especially during recoveries.
Okay, yeah, I see that. It looks like break-evens undershoot realized inflation by about 150 basis points. In some way, that's not too surprising given people's natural tendency to expect the future to be like the past. I think it's also interesting that when you look at commodity futures curves, they are not pricing in a reflation type scenario over this year either. So if this were to transpire, I would expect some significant market volatility, especially in bond yields and inflation-oriented assets.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry to cut it short, Olivia, but I need to run. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, no problem. Talk soon. Cheers, mate.
Oh, hey, Olivia, how are you?
Hi Salman, I'm good. How about you? I was calling you to talk about your thoughts on inflation as we start the new year.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me send you a chart about that right now. For the first time in a while, we face the risk of both a demand surge and constrained supply. On the demand side, the jump in savings rates, the chart on the left, has created an extreme reserve of consumption that could be unleashed if the pandemic is resolved and euphoria takes hold.
Okay, yeah, and at the same time, on the supply side, lockdowns and the lack of visibility are currently limiting current and future capacity. Any excess in demand will lead to higher prices in some areas because supply will take time to respond. That's why you are showing in the right chart. The new orders component of the ISM manufacturing and services surveys is already truly exceptional, and we can expect supply constraints to impact.
Exactly. But at this stage of the recovery, the uncontrolled inflation case is really a risk and not a core scenario. We really need to see clear signs that the recovery is strong and sustainable enough to push up prices sharply.
Plus, there are structural obstacles that will moderate these pressures: savings, slack, and secular trends, the 3S. So an inflation overshoot should be temporary, even if it leads to some violent market action.
I agree. Glad we got a chance to catch up. I've got to go, Olivier. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, no problem. Talk soon. Cheers, mate.